All right, so the last thing I want to do is maybe add in a little more age to it. Some areas that might look like it's got some rust or something going for it. So I'm going to go ahead and change this alpha to alpha 8. It's a really nice one. I'm going to go ahead and add in another layer. This is going to be what I'll look at as having been corrosion. I'm going to go ahead and turn off these other layers. And if you ever notice you accidentally turn off your recording, that's fine. Just click this button right here. Oops, and that happened because I had accidentally did some painting with the RGB on. That was my mistake. I'm going to go ahead and go color, fill object. Yeah, that's why you don't want to make sure. That's why you don't want the RGB on. Make sure of that, and that was my fault. And that's going to happen now every time I create a new layer. I'll have to repaint it, but that's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm just going to do just a slight pull. Okay, it's on a little harder than I want it to be. I'm just going to indent a little. I guess this could be called corrosion. Let's try a little drag rectangle and see what that does. All right. And again, this is just, I find a little more detail, a little more of this, I find adds to the overall look of everything. Just going to pull that in there. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but when I'm clicking and then dragging this out, I can actually spin by going, like I'm doing a clock, I can actually spin the direction of the alpha as I'm pulling it out. You don't always have to pull and drag from one direction. All right, just so you know. And let's get a little more here. Yeah, that was nice. I did that on an edge because it kind of did this weird wave thing through it, but that's okay. All right. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Again, we can get super complicated with this. This isn't even, trust me, this isn't even super detailed. Not as far as I would go, but again, we only have so much time, so we're trying to get corrosion. No, hold it. That's oops, corrosion. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and turn on these other pieces. Now I can see this corrosion is a little rough or a little hard, so I'm going to just pull it back a bit. I'm also going to go ahead and go to our scratches. I think that's still a little hard. There we go. Now what I might also do, I'll actually do this. I do want to get a little bit of some edging in around the letters to exaggerate them a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and click and go to the Damn Standard brush. I want to make sure that the stroke is up. Usually the lazy mouse on Damn Standard is great. I don't know that I want it on right now for this, for what I'm looking to do. I'm going to go ahead and, in this case, I'm going to hide everything as usual and create a new one. Again, remember, it's because I accidentally had some RGB on there. Now I have to recoat the model in white. Again, make sure RGB is off. Make sure it's off when you're working with it. All right. Now, if I want, I'm going to just zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and just emphasize just around in here. I'm just doing a little bit of, let's see. Yeah, a little gouging, a little aging for this. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. this down. Oops, by the way, I should switch this to a freehand. There we go. I'm just trying to add in a little bit of, I'm going to turn this alpha off for a second. I'm just emphasizing some of the edges on the letters. So it might help pull it out a little bit more. Here. It's okay if I actually hit onto the letter. That actually makes it look a little cooler, a little more worn. So I'm okay with that. Let's go for the W. All right, so get that. That in there. Now, let's smooth that out just a little bit. Didn't quite like that. Let's see this. Pull it down. And I'll stop at a certain point. There we go. All right. Okay. I'm just going to call this one some edging. Again, I try to keep all my layers named just so I know what needs to be turned on or turned off at any particular time. And let's go ahead and do a BPR. Yeah. Let's pull this back. Another BPR. I'm good with that. I like that. I like how that's working. I think that'll look good. I think I'm going to place it on the door of the mausoleum rather than on the facade of some of the brickwork. But I think that'll work just for now. Again, we could spend a lot of time working just on the plaque, but we have other things to get to. So let's go ahead and I'm going to call this done. By the way, I want to make sure that we delete out our polyspheres in this particular. By the way, when you're deleting a subtool, you'll always get this. This is not an undoable operation. Press OK to continue or cancel to abort. If you click OK, fine and dandy. But if you click always OK, it'll remember that choice, so it's not going to ask you it the next time. So if I can delete here, there we go. It didn't ask me that the second time. I want to make sure that when I look to copy this subtool, just this subtool is the only thing in this particular file. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Plaque 4. All right, and we've got that saved. So we'll continue on now with the stone blocks.